And we're doing it. I think we're a little bit laggy, but hi everybody. This is gonna be really awkward because the chat's all down here and the camera's up here. Um, yeah. But anyway, how's it going? Ben's here. Joyce, how's it going? Adrian, live tales from the comments. This should be interesting. It wouldn't be the first time. We used to do them on the main channel live for a bit. That was fun. People really didn't care for it because it was like a 15-minute live stream, and they're used to like hours of live streams. But anyway, hey, thanks everyone. Deekster. This is just going to be, I'm not even going to tweet about this, so you guys are the first people on the notification squad, or just if you saw it randomly on the YouTubes. Lady Ray, Brandon Allen, all of you guys are awesome. Thank you guys for coming. This is just going to be a simple thing that we're going to try out on the Sidekick channel. Please, dear God, tell me it's on the Sidekick channel. I think it is. And not the main channel. But, yeah, live tales from the comments. Where you guys randomly saw it, or were they on the notification? Yeah, so anyway, getting distracted. Basically, I wanted to do a thing where, just to provide more content for this channel, every other week, we do one of these live streams, which is going to be live tales from the comments. And then it's just going to be, you know, me answering some of the comments that Lanisha picked out on previous NerdSync videos. And then, all right, cool. Thanks for the confirmation on the NerdSync Sidekick. And then, yeah, and then we would take this video and edit it to be shorter and put it on the main channel. But if anyone wants the long form version of it, we get here. So it's kind of like the best of both worlds. It's additional stuff. You get to see me screw up and try to think about how I want to word something. That's the fun part about being live, and even the fact that I didn't pick out the comments. That'll be fun. But yeah, I know some people said that the Tales from the Comments videos could stand to be shorter. So we're going to edit. You know, obviously, we'll do a live stream here, very long format, make a much shorter version over on the main channel that's edited and has all the comments popping up on screen. That's the thing. This is going to be really stripped down. You won't even see the comments appear on screen. It's just going to be me in front of a camera. So hope that's okay with you guys. And then we could also just chat in the comments as well. If you ever see me looking down, this is where you guys are, right here. This is the camera up here. I like to stand when I'm doing live streams instead of sit. I feel like I can, you know, move around and do some more stuff. But of course, with my monitor being down here, it always looks like I'm not paying attention. So apologies for that. Yeah, we'll just answer a few questions off the bat. I'm not recording yet. In fact, that's something I should point out. I've never tried recording and streaming at the same time. And I'm wondering if my computer can even handle it. If it can't, if it gets really, really choppy and unusable, then this will just be a one-time off experiment. Alternatively, I guess I could try to rip the video from YouTube and then use that to edit it into the full video. I don't know. We shall see. I think these only upload in 720 as well, so it's gonna be rough. Usually our videos are like 4K. Or at least 2K, and then the comment responses are like really low 720p, but whatever. Is YouTube going okay for you, asks Striker Cool Guy. It's all right. January's always rough. We haven't been uploading consistently, you guys know this, and so that's a huge factor, because, you know, when you start uploading consistently, then people start working you into their daily, weekly schedule, and since we haven't been doing that, people have even forgotten that NerdSync exists, or that we're making new videos. I get a lot of comments all the time about, like, when we post a new video, people will be like, man, you haven't uploaded a video in months. And I'm like, no, we have. You just haven't seen it. YouTube doesn't want to promote it to you, but that's fine. It's whatever. And so a big part of that is obviously trying to be consistent, which is hard to do. We'll get into other comments as we go on. I want to test to see if I can record. Actually, let me see what my streaming settings are, because my record settings are the same quality. Can anyone tell me if this stream is coming to you in 1080 or 720? Can you guys check the quality? Because I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm an idiot. I think it should be 1080. And if that's the case, then at least I can rip it from YouTube if everything goes horribly wrong. 1080. Thank you, Striker Cool Guy. Well, that's good at least. 1080. All right. Well, then I probably won't record it. We'll see if we can just take it from YouTube. In the meantime, my beard is not participating today. It rarely ever is. I think it's also just because I'm looking at a weird angle. Like, oh, like here's all right. Ugh. Still kind of gross. I need to trim it up. You're getting 480. My phone only goes to 720. There are 1080 and okay, cool. Well, at least there's a 1080. Got that squared away. Thanks for all the nice. There are way more people here than I expected. Holy cow, guys. This was just supposed to be a little tiny test that I expected maybe like 4 people to show up to, but all right, we'll get into it. Let me find Sparta because I like to open the videos with Sparta, because he likes being on camera. So just give me like 2 seconds. If anyone new shows up and they're wondering what's happening, everyone fill them in because this is gonna pop over the screen right now as I go get my cat. So take like 4 seconds. I'll be back. Ta-da! I got him. This is his. He likes to be up here, by the way. I think some people think I force him to be on my shoulders for fun camera shots. He likes it up here, as you can hopefully see. Imagine 4K live streaming. I wish. I don't think. I mean, I know that's a thing that some people can do somehow, but not my computer, and certainly not my internet. And I definitely don't have a camera that's like a webcam that's 4K. I'd have to just get my camera. Anyway, what did I think of the Arrowverse crossover in November? I didn't watch it. I've heard it's great though. All right, come on, bud. There you go. So we're gonna go ahead and why did I decide to name him Sparta? Simply because I thought it was funny to introduce him, like, if someone was like, oh, what's his name? And I could say, this is Sparta! That has happened, like, a total of 3 times, so not a great investment on my part, if I'm being honest. But he's a fun cat. Let me pull up the comments, and we will get started. I'm going to try my best not to ignore you guys, but obviously I am recording this for a video on the main channel. So, I have to, look up here. You're down here. Camera's up there. Comments are down there. So, apologies if there are stretches of time where I'm somewhat ignoring you. I will talk, though. Do I sound okay? Hopefully I sound all right. All right. We can even pull some comments from the chat as well for the comment response. Yeah, he is a big cat. He's huge. He was actually super duper skinny and just the tiniest little cat when we first got him as a kitten. I think once we fed him, he was like, oh, so this is what food tastes like? And then he just ate like crazy. Sparta is thick. You should see Pumpkin. Pumpkin doesn't let me hold her. But Pumpkin is huge. All right, let me do the intro. We'll get into it. Thanks everyone for being here. Let me know if there are any... Okay. Since I am going to be pulling this from YouTube, let me know if there are any streaming problems. Then we can fix it. Or I'll have to restate something. But only if enough people say it. Because sometimes it's just on one person's end, But if there's like a huge thing that happens and everyone's like, whoa, where'd the video go? Then I'll be like, all right, maybe I got to fix something. Anyway, you get the drill. All right. Sparta, you got to be looking at the camera, buddy. That's the only way this works, or at least in the vicinity of the camera. All right, let's jump into Tales from the Comments. You guys get to watch a fun performance, because occasionally I repeat. Okay. Occasionally I have to repeat things a lot, so you might get annoyed with that. See how it goes. How are you doing, you wonderful nerds? Welcome to the very first Tales from the Comments of 2018. Sparta is slipping off of me, but we had him there for a bit. Say hi, buddy. No? Just gonna ignore everyone. What a champ. What a legend. All right. Well, I'm just gonna put... Whoa! Right into the mic! Nice! Incredible. Did you guys hear his little squeak? His little meow? Amazing. I love it. All right, I'm gonna make him get out of the room now. Come on, buddy. That's literally all I like to use him for, is the very first one. Very first thing. All right. Whew. Cat hairs everywhere. Thank you, Ben. This is my... I have two modes of outfits. One is, like, pretty dapper, right? And the other one is, like, small-time thief. And that's this outfit. This is my small-time thief outfit. I dig it. Do I ever sit? I sit all the time. There's a chair right behind me where I normally sit. That's why I like to stand on camera. It's a break from sitting. All right, anyway, let's continue on. Chat amongst yourselves, I guess. I don't know. Oof, I'm getting like flashes of like colors that tell me if something is good or bad. I don't know. I don't know how OBS works. All right, let me just set up the thing. How do I usually talk about this? So if you're new to the channel, which is very possible because we've gotten a ton of new subscribers from the Super Carlin Brothers collab that we did very recently, you should know that we do comment responses on this channel every other week. Starting now, of course. You guys, I've missed a lot of months. You guys get it. You in the you chat people. Well, we're gonna start doing them every other week, hopefully. Let's see. And the way this works is my social media person. Lanisha, actually goes through the comments of our latest videos, picks out a whole bunch of comments she wants me to respond to and react to. I've never seen them before until this very moment on camera, so it's going to be my very initial reaction. Also, we're starting to live stream these on our second channel, so everyone in the chat over here, you won't see them. let me try to rephrase that, because obviously this is going to be edited. Also, we're going to start live streaming these. We're doing it right now, actually, on our second channel, NerdSync Sidekick. So if you want to see the long-form version of these comment response videos, go check them out. But on this channel that you're watching right now, it's just going to be the edited versions of it. Gotta keep it quick. Gotta keep it moving. Gotta put a beat behind that. You know what I mean? Unscripted is super hard. Unscripted is super hard. This is fun. Glad you guys are having fun. I have never played Fortnite, but I watch a lot of people on the internet play Fortnite. It seems fun, but I know I would be terrible at it. Because I'm terrible at all video games. If I'm being real honest with myself. Alright, so here's the thing. Actually, let me check right now. Oh, fantastic. So Lanisha originally only sent me the Punisher comments, and I asked if she could find some Superman ones, and she literally just did. So how awesome, how fun. Ha! You do you. That's me. Will you please be on social media more? Snapchats are always a... I keep forgetting that Snapchat is a thing. That's the thing, right? Snapchat and like Instagram stories. I don't know which one I'm supposed to be using when. They seem like interchangeable. Not that I use either one of them a lot. I feel like I'm on Twitter a bunch. Some would say too much. I've never played Getting Over It, but I have seen people play Get Over It, Getting Over It, whatever it's called. Punisher. Thank you for the comments on the Punisher video. A lot of people said they like it. All right, let's move on. Someone's got to edit this. And I don't want them sitting through a whole bunch of stuff. We can chat more at the end. Guys, you're distracting me. You're distracting me in the chat. Come on. That's not what it's there for. That's what it's there for. All right. All right. So we actually had 2 videos with a couple. So we had a. This is what I do. Recording in front of an audience is hard. All right. I'll get better at it. So we actually had 2 videos last month. One was about can Superman crush coal into diamond, and the other one was about the psychology of the Punisher. So let's go over the comments from those videos, starting with the Superman one. And as always, links to all of these will be in the description down below. Actually, no. What did I do one time when I said that? I have to record this in 2 ways because I don't know which way is the little eye icon, so forgive me for this. So if you haven't seen that video and you want to catch up on it, you can go ahead and click. So if you haven't seen the video and you want to catch up on it, go ahead and click in the corner up there to watch the video. Let me try with words that exist. So if you haven't seen the video and you want to watch it, click up there in that corner and then come back to this video for some comments. I guess that's fine. So if you haven't seen the video and you want to catch up on it, go ahead and click up in that corner to watch it and then come back here to see some comment responses. That was just awkward enough to be passing. I'll take it. Hey, you saw me on Super Carlin Brothers. That's awesome. You went from wait, hold on. Did you know about NerdSync beforehand, or did you go from Super Carlin Brothers to somehow finding the NerdSync Sidekick channel? Because that seems like a leap, and that's impressive, if that's the case. I'm glad you guys are finding it funny when I mess up. Hey man, if you have a ton of video ideas for me, hit me up on Twitter. I love getting ideas on Twitter or on email. nerdsyncproductions@gmail.com if it's a really lengthy idea. This is free behind the scenes footage. It sure is. Watching how the NerdSync sausage is made. The direction on the first one was correct. Awesome. Cool. That's my least favorite of the 2 that I did. So we'll stick with that. It pretty much is a bloopers reel. I'll be honest with you. I hope it's at least entertaining to watch. I have a iPad with all the comments on it, so this first comment comes from Nerd Outpost Alpha, who says Superman forgets he and Lois's anniversary, runs out and buys a pack of pencils. That's pretty good. Yeah, that sounds exactly. See, because like in any other context, that would make for a horrible anniversary gift, but with Superman, pretty good pencils. Obviously, I don't know if you guys know this, but we don't use every single comment that Lanisha sends my way. She sends me like dozens of comments, and we just use the ones that either have the best reactions from me or the ones that I feel are the most important. Whatever. You guys are getting all of them because this is a live stream, but the edited video over there, we'll just get some of them. Hi, everybody. For new people joining in. How many people do we have? It doesn't tell me right now. Hold on, let me scroll over. We have 30 people watching? That's too many. All right. AD says, I was just living my life normally, ready to go to bed, but then I got an alert come up on my phone at 51, I guess that's 12:51 UK time, informing me NerdSync uploaded. Oh yes, the notification squad, my favorite nerds on the internet. Thank you for dropping everything and watching our new videos when they go live. Actually, I was just talking to the chat here as we're live streaming about how YouTube apparently just doesn't want to notify anyone of our videos anymore. So all of you guys who are on the notification squad, I really do appreciate it for getting some traffic to brand new videos. It really helps us out a lot, gets that momentum going. You guys are great. Pix says, diamonds need heat and pressure to form. Where does the heat come from? If you're talking about naturally formed diamonds, the heat comes from the Earth, because diamonds are formed usually miles and miles and miles below the Earth's surface, and when you get closer to the middle of the Earth, it's really, really hot, and that's where all the heat comes from to form the naturally formed diamonds. In terms of Superman doing it, probably has heat vision, right? Could do it that way. Da-da-da. Roderick Brown, what a cool way to spell that, says Superman bench pressed the Earth's weight for 3 days. So yes, he can. Yes, he could if, again, he was using the correct materials to make the diamonds. Because if he was just doing coal, then yeah, it would probably just be like really low-grade diamonds. I did see some people on the video commenting about how the material, the kind of residue left over when he crushes the diamond in the movie, it's all like the soot and the whatever. People were saying that would be him crushing the impurities out of it to make a more pure diamond out of the, you know, impure coal that he started with. But I don't know, maybe that could be it. Or that's just headcanon. I like that too. Not nearly enough people. Sorry. I'd say his hands. In his hands? I don't know what those are in reference to. Did I misspeak, unfortunately? That happens a lot. Oh, okay. Well, we'll edit these around if we end up using them. Flawless diamonds are worth less? It's relative, right? It's actually, let me see. Let me grab. We'll do some fun things about grabbing screenshots from the chat. Did it work? Yeah. We actually had somebody in the chat, Starpunk Crewco, am I pronouncing that correctly? Ask about if flawless diamonds are worth less. And that's relative to what kind of diamonds you're comparing them to. If you're talking about things like yellow diamonds or blue diamonds, which we talked about in the video, have impurities and are typically worth more than just regular diamonds, then yes, in that case, they are worth less. But if you're comparing it to just like low-grade diamonds used for like machining tools, then yeah, they're worth way more. The flawless ones are. So. Boom. We may or may not use that. I at least took a screenshot. It's just after 7 p.m. for Scott. Nope, it's just after 8 p.m. for me. Close, though. Let's see. This is Alia Clark, who has too many vowels in their name, asks, could, in theory, Superman be able to make any gem he wants? I actually do not know the answer to that one. I only looked up diamonds, but I would have to figure out how other gems are formed. That would be a really interesting follow-up video if there's any information there. Yeah, I have really no idea, but that's the right question. That's the right question to ask. Spewing out words from my mouth, but you got it. I might do that again. Doesn't it take centuries for a diamond to form? Yes, it does. And we've talked about this in the video. Heat and pressure are two of the elements that it makes, that it needs. Time is another one. But, you know, in the video, we talk about how lab-grown diamonds or lab-produced diamonds are much shorter of a process. Some can grow overnight. Some still take days or weeks or even months, but still way shorter of a time than naturally formed diamonds. So, hey, that goes for you in the chat too. If you haven't seen the video and you want to go check it out, go to our main channel, go watch it. It's a fun time. You can do it afterwards or right now. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to record that again, at least whatever, just so I'm not like spewing gibberish out of my mouth. But anyway, I'll just take it from the last bit where I was like, but that is a really good question to ask. That's the right question to ask, and I'm very curious to know the answer. Let me know in the comments if you guys have any information on that, because I'm not going to pretend that I do. I forgot everything since that video came out. All right. Getsuga Shao. Sorry. I'm so bad at pronouncing names. You're wrong about one thing. Superman wouldn't turn coal into black powder because if you press powder with enough force, it becomes solid. So in fact, he would crush coal into powder, then mold it again into a black lump. Superman turning coal into A different shape of coal. I like it. That's what he's a coal sculptor. A coal he sculpts coal. I don't know. You guys get it. There's a joke there. It's DIY. Figure it out. Superman can make bank selling birthstones. Maybe. Maybe some of Texas is mountain time. I'm certainly in the central time zone, though. Texas is a big place. West Philadelphia, born and raised. Thanks for getting that stuck in my head. But could Superman turn peanut butter into diamonds? Now that is not the right question to ask, but I applaud you for trying. The Narwhal King says, does anyone remember the name of the book Scott mentioned a while back about steps to make a comic book? It was a comedy, I think. If you know, can you at me? Thanks, NerdSync. What? Does anyone remember the name of the book Scott mentioned a while back about steps to make a comic book? If I... my head immediately goes to two books. One is... by Robin S. Rosenberg. One second. Let me see if I can find the book. Talk amongst yourselves. I don't know. My books are all over the place. Okay. Let me just try to do it from memory. There are two books I think that come to mind. One of them is Understanding Comics by Scott McCloud. The other one is Robin S. Rosenberg's was it like Superhero Origins or something that talks about that breaks down superhero origins, talks about the different types of superhero origins. Neither one of them is a comedy though. That's what's throwing me off. You said it was a comedy? Steps to make a comic book. It was a comedy. I don't know what you're talking about. Anyone in the comments? No? Figure it out. The Narwhal King requests your aid. What a fun name. DuckTales. Woo! Do you guys know what he's talking about? The book that's a comedy. Steps to make a comic book. I don't know. I've never recommended a comedy book, I don't think. We have 31 people watching? I feel like I'm not doing anything interesting for 31 people to be watching. Reinventing comics. If it was one in the comic book format, then it was probably a Scott McCloud one. Probably Understanding Comics. Reinventing would be the other one. The Marvel Method? Maybe. Oh! I know exactly what you're talking about. If I can find it. My books are scattered all over the place. Cannot find it. I do not have a system. I don't have a bookshelf. All right, so it turns out I can't find it, but the book you are talking about, I believe, is the Lexicon of Kamikana. That is a deep NerdSync cut, my friend, and I applaud you for that. Does anyone remember the Lexicon of Kamikana? I believe it was by... God, who wrote that? Mort something? I don't know. Yeah, that's the only book I can think of that teaches how to make comic books and is actively comedic. So, boy, that's I only mentioned it once in a really, really, really old NerdSync video about the Mort Walker. Thank you. About the Growlixes, or it was basically like things in comic books you never knew had names, and one of them was Growlixes. And yeah, we actually got the Kamikana name for that show based off of the Lexicon of Kamikana. But we never actually talked about the Lexicon of Kamikana on Kamikana. I actually really feel bad. This is a little side note for you guys in the chat here. I feel like if I could go back in time and rename this whole channel, I would call it Kamikana. I feel like that's such a better name than NerdSync. But whatever. Yeah, I know. Everyone misses Kamikana and Super Suits. We actually have a final Super Suits episode that we just haven't edited yet. It's been like a year since Joel recorded it. Yes, Beetle Bailey creator. Yeah. Same dude. Trying to get those viewer hours up. Yeah. Well, this is something the live streams are something I planned on doing before that was ever announced. Just so happens. You guys love the name NerdSync? That's fair enough. I have a lot of book recommendations. You can go watch my book recommendation video on the main channel. And let's move on. More comments. Probably, I would like a comment about the actual Superman video, but, you know, sometimes Lanisha just gives me any comments. Gurianth? Guys, can you... Look, I love you all. You're all wonderful nerds. Could you have, like, phonetic spellings of your names for me in the comments? I'd appreciate it. Anyway, they say, I believe someone promised a video about Wonder Woman in bondage that I'm still waiting for. I know. It's been... God, it's been so long. But it is still on the docket. I would be lying if I said I was working on it actively, but it is still there. It actually evolved into like a 3-part series. Well, I guess 4-part with the part that I already did. So it's on the way. I promise. But I don't know when. I'm sorry. Hey, thanks for the love seeing me on Super Carlin Bros. I appreciate it. UG Windbolt 19 says, wouldn't he need to shoot his heat vision into his palms? Lol. Both high heat and pressure, right? Sounds like it would be too painful. I feel like Superman has had 0 reactions to like being on fire or heat. Like there's that, you remember in Man of Steel how he was like on the exploding like oil tanker? I feel like heat doesn't really bother him at all. He could just heat vision into his hand and he'd be fine. I mean, he flies into the sun to recharge, right? Like, I'm not crazy. Superman has no problem with heat. I yelled out, I'm not crazy at the beginning of that thought, like, just super early, which is that's suspiciously defensive on my part. I'm not crazy. Oh, thanks for the comments on the new NerdSync intro. Yeah, it was really, I had originally massive plans for that intro. Let me actually screenshot your comment. Thanks for commenting that. I should say it as well. Mayan1237. Just so I have that on record. Yeah. Mayan1237 says thanks, or Mayan1237 in the chat as we're recording it live says, great new NerdSync intro. Thank you. I originally had much bigger plans for it, reusing some of the imagery that we've had for ages, but then I just kept it, I cut it all off, and I made it like 3 seconds long, and I thought, it's fine. Are you crazy, Scott? Are you? Chest hair sizzles, yeah. I need to convince myself that I'm not crazy. Anyway, speaking of craziness, let's move on to our second video that we recorded. One more time. Anyway, speaking of craziness, let's move on to our second video that we put out in January, all about the psychology of the Punisher. Once again, if you haven't seen it, you can click up in this corner to watch it, or link in the description down below. Was that the correct corner? I believe it was. I'm used to pointing up this way. Wait, hold on. Mungie, why do people say it's heat vision, not laser vision? I've read so many comics saying it's laser vision. It's never been laser vision. As far as my memory goes, it's 100% been heat vision. That's like one of my biggest pet peeves is people who say it's laser vision, because it's not. It's you're trying to purposely trigger me. I just know it. It's not laser vision, it's heat vision. All right, cool. Thanks, guys, for the confirmation. Anyone remember a time when the title of the video was above the video? That was like old school YouTube. Thanks for all the comments. I actually got a ton of comments on this video saying that it was everyone's favorite NerdSync video to date. So thanks to everyone for all those awesome, super nice comments. A lot of great Twitter responses, a lot of great just comments on YouTube. Hopefully we won't dive into too many compliments. I like to see people challenging my opinions, but who knows? I didn't pick these comments. All right, let's move into it. How many people we got in the chat? 33 now? Guys, I'm not interesting. Stop watching. It's reverse psychology right there. I know I've read comics that say it's both, like Red Sun says it's laser vision. I don't know if Red Sun is the best comic to go off of. You know what? I kind of like the Adam West video better too. I'll be honest. I like the DuckTales video a lot as well. He sniffed into the mic. My bad. I was trying to smell your comments. Yikes. All right. I didn't say that. You misheard me. YouTube is my job. Not a very stable job, but it's the only one I have. I was thinking that same thing too, Nerd Outpost Alpha, about when I said it's my favorite NerdSync video to date. And I was like, you know, take it to a nice seafood dinner and then never call it again. I think I'm gonna actually start by I think I'm actually going to start by answering a comment from the chat that just popped up here. Again, from Mayan1237, who says, do you feel the diagnosis of a concept like evil devalues the cultural impactfulness of the idea of something being the antithesis of good? Great comment. Actually, the original edit of the video and the original script that we had included a section at the end. It was about 1 or 2 extra minutes, all about this idea. Criticisms of Syndrome E, and, you know, arguments against it. And we cut it simply because at the end of the day, we wanted to end the video on like a really impactful note instead of ending the video by walking back everything we said prior. So let me just see if I can go ahead and remember a lot of the stuff that we were going to talk about in that section. You want more videos relating to comics, not movies or series. I get it. We have a lot of that stuff coming up. We have a lot of that stuff coming up, actually. A ton of it. But, you know, I watched the TV series. I wanted to comment on it. We have actually, most of our videos just really revolve around characters in any form that they take. We have a Captain Cold video coming up that just talks about Captain Cold as a character in whatever form, in comics and TV shows, whatever. So we use a lot of clips from the TV show, but we don't actually like. It's not about the TV show. It's just about Captain Cold. It's similar with like like the Punisher thing could absolutely apply to the comic books. We just chose to center around the comic book character because, or the TV show, because it was easier to pull clips from. And it was culturally relevant in January. It wasn't. If you want to smell something, smell this green, lulz. Thanks, James. I appreciate the super chat. That's awesome. Oh, man. Yeah. Mayan, since good and evil are cultural constructs, I can't help but find an attempt at making evil psychological diagnosis rather naive. So, about this idea, because you're right, this is one of the main criticisms of Syndrome E, and I don't think I explained it quite accurately in the video, which was part of the reason I was anxious about putting the video out in the first place, because I didn't think I was getting it right. So what Fried was trying to get at with Syndrome E is not diagnosing the concept of evil, but diagnosing people who do things that the average person would say are evil acts. So I think I didn't say that correctly. I think we kind of glossed over that concept. I wrote a comment about it. I pinned a comment about it on that video to try and get some better ideas. But he wasn't trying to, diagnose the broadness, the broad idea of evil. It was more just like diagnosing the people who many people would think qualify as evil, if that makes sense. So it's a completely different realm to that idea. And there are criticisms of Syndrome E. Fried's cure, or what was it? Fried's idea for he wanted to isolate people with Syndrome E. He thought that was the solution to getting rid of people who commit evil acts. But one major criticism you might think initially when hearing that is Syndrome E then creates an us versus them mentality of the healthy brains and the sick brains. He also talks about how only some people are capable of developing Syndrome E, and therefore that's why we need to isolate them. But again, it creates this us versus them mentality, which leads to groups being violent towards one another, which creates violent acts. That is basically not helping our scenario whatsoever. There are criticisms like that in regards to Syndrome E, but just to clarify, he was not trying to diagnose like the morality of good and evil. He was trying to diagnose the psychology of people who commit quote unquote violent acts. I don't think I voiced that properly. Does that make sense? You guys in the chat, does that make sense what I was trying to get at? Holy cow. Let's thank all the super chats that just came in. Allow me to one-up James by Chad Morale. Thank you so much. And then James Darko says, come at me, brub. Lulz. Yeah, holy cow. You guys are awesome. So thank you for that. Let me actually go back to my Punisher script and read off some additional thoughts, just because I'm not sure that I am voicing it properly, but holy cow, thank you all for the super chats. You guys are incredible. Yeah, I can actually eat food this month because of that. Thank you. All right, let me just go ahead and read. We probably won't edit this in the video, but I'll just go ahead and read straight from the script some of my initial thoughts that got cut out. If you guys are interested in that, leave the most inappropriate emoji you can think of to that thought of me potentially reading more things from the script, if you're interested in it. All right, let's go for it. So I say that, blah, blah, blah. For starters, other than the whole premise being a bit strange, some people believe reframing evil as a pathology almost seems to provide justification for heinous acts, or at the very least, an escape from blame. It wasn't me. I have a disease that makes me evil. But if you've seen our Moon Knight video about criminal justice and mental health, you'd understand why that argument doesn't really work. In short, it's kind of tricky to separate a person from their brain. So that's one criticism of Syndrome E, is that it seems like, it provides justification for someone's evil, for committing an evil act. Like you're saying, oh no, I have a disease. That's what makes me evil. But that's a silly argument. You can't separate yourself from your actions or your brain because you are. That's what makes you you. And if you want more info on that, go check out our Moon Knight video because it is much more in depth about that concept of criminal justice and mental health. It's a fun time. Yeah, you don't do emojis. That's fine. Incredible. Just arrived. What's going on? We're doing live comment responses that will be edited and put on the main channel. So it's kind of sloppy in this format, but it'll be pretty on the other channel. But yeah, all right. So moving on, I have like 2 additional paragraphs here. I say perhaps the most significant critique of diagnosing Syndrome E is that it implies only a particular kind of mentality is susceptible to its symptoms. In other words, just a selective group of people have the potential to be evil. This view may create an us versus them mentality, the healthy minds versus the diseased minds. But hey, that is the exact kind of toxic mindset that creates tension and ultimately leads groups to be violent towards one another. Oh boy, that is not helping. $100! Oh my god! James Darkos, you are my favorite person on the planet. $100 super chat. I have never seen that in my entire life. Everyone, give up some props for the Dark Man. That's what I'm gonna call you. Holy cow. That is incredible. Man. That's awesome. That's incredible. Thank you so much. That's awesome. I'm gonna finish reading this paragraph and then we'll move on to more stuff. But man, thank you so much. That means so much to me. All right, last paragraph here. We talked. This is part of the reason I cut it out is because we talked about other stuff that we didn't establish in the rest of the video. But as famous psychological experiments like the Stanford prison experiments or the Milgram experiment showed, anyone is capable of committing evil acts given the right context. And Frank Castle has certainly had his fair share of horrific experiences that could make any one of us dip into the realm of evil. Any one of us could be the Punisher. Please don't be, though. Try to be better. Frank Castle is not meant to be a role model. Frank Castle is far from a good guy with a gun, which calls back the setup to the whole video where I said that some people think that Frank Castle is a good guy to a gun. So I hope that makes sense. I don't think I laid it out properly, and I apologize for that. But yeah, that was kind of the idea. Not necessarily diagnosing. I know I like almost blatantly verbatim said that he was trying to diagnose evil as a disease. Or I phrased it kind of similar to that. But that was just me being dumb. That's not what I meant. And I knew that while I was editing it, but I didn't think about it when I was recording it. So I was very conscious of that in the process. Yeah, I don't know. There's really no excuse. I should have laid it out better, made it more clear. So, half expecting Scott to cry a bit. I'm more so going to sweat. It is very hot in this room. And I'm wearing a hoodie and a jacket. But yeah. I look like Shel Silverstein. I've never seen a picture of Shel Silverstein. I don't know if that's a compliment or not. Oh boy. I don't think Frank considers himself a role model. I know that he doesn't. But okay. There's like a thing that flew across the... Anyway, I know that Frank doesn't consider himself a role model. But the kind of thing that we got across was there are a lot of people who do still see him as a role model, whether he likes it or not. We actually had comments from people in the military who are like, we love Frank Castle, we love what he stands for. Those were like comments on our video. And of course, we talked about before how people in the military adopt the Punisher symbol on their uniforms and on their weapons or vehicles. For that purpose as well. There are people who... There was that story about police officers somewhere, I can't remember where, but they put the Punisher logo on police cars for the same reason. And like, if you're in the military, that's one thing. I kind of understand it. But a police car having the Punisher logo on it? No. So, yeah. People still, even though he's not meant to, even though he doesn't think himself to be a role model, there are still people that treat him as such. That's what I was trying to say. Yeah, it is horrifying. It is horrifying. Look that up. Google that. I can't remember which city or state that was in. I think that they got rid of it because there was a big backlash about it. But there are pictures of the cars, and they're weird. You got tired of seeing it? Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. I suppose. There's a part of me that really likes how something from the comic books evolved into, to transcend the medium of comic books. I think that part is really cool about it, but I don't know if it's the right message to send in a lot of context, especially on police cars. Is Nick Fury a good guy with a gun? I don't know. Will I do more philosophy videos? Absolutely, I will. We have a ton of philosophy coming up. Actually, one of them is about Wonder Woman. Two of them might be about Wonder Woman. I think we're going to talk about... here's a little sneak peek for you guys. This is going on for way longer than I anticipated. Here's a sneak peek for you guys, though. We have 2 parts of like the 4-part Wonder Woman series are about philosophy. One of them is about the philosophy of truth. What does it mean for her lasso for the lasso of truth to work? Does, basically what is truth? If someone believes something wholeheartedly and they were wrapped in, or if they believe in something that's not true, but they believe it wholeheartedly and they're, surrounded by the lasso of truth, will it make them spout the actual truth about the world or just whatever they wholeheartedly believe to be true? Like if someone was a flat earther and like they wholeheartedly believed the earth was flat and then the lasso got around them, would it make them say, the earth is round? Or would they just be like, the earth is flat because I believe it to be true? You know what I mean? So we'll talk a lot about that. And then we're also going to talk about the ethics of the lasso. Is it torture? Is it morally or ethically right to use the lasso and to get information out of people without their consent? So talking about that. So a lot of philosophy coming up. Yay. Yeah, we haven't done a philosophy video in a while. I'm glad you guys are... I will do another Scooby-Doo video. In fact, hey, coincidence, I wanted to do a philosophy of Scooby-Doo, talk about what the show teaches about its very pro-science message in a lot of the show, about how paranormal activity usually has a scientific explanation, or rational explanation, rather. So yeah, we'll talk a lot about... too many typos! Sorry. That's an awesome video idea. Thank you. Thanks so much. All right, let's move on to more comments now that I got that out of the way. Because that was like comment, not even one. That was from the chat. So we haven't even gotten into these. Oh boy. All right, here we go. Sorry, my nose is a bit runny. I'm sorry if that just sounds gross and disgusting. I'm also like very dehydrated. I wish I had a... What am I talking about? I have a drink literally right in front of me. I cannot take care of myself, guys. I am a far cry from an adult. Whew. James Darkos, you're coming in here with a $75 super chat. Man, you're incredible. Here's to make it longer. Also, no, I'm not just sending super chats because I can. Just want to round up my donation to a prettier number. Also, yes, 1,000 times make more Scooby-Doo videos. Awesome. Brandon Allen, do a Scooby-Doo theme song video with RKVC. We absolutely are doing that. I actually am trying to contract them. That's not the right word. I'm trying to, this is what I was trying to say. I've ordered 6 more of those theme song videos for this year, and we're still talking about it. They're supposed to do one this month. I don't think we've established it, so it might be more like 5. But hopefully every other month there'll be another one of those theme song videos, and Scooby-Doo is one of the ones that we're gonna be diving into. We are taking suggestions. We have a lot of ideas on our own, and they're all about a lot of cartoons. The X-Men theme song, of course, but a lot of them aren't comic book themed, so I hope that's okay. Obviously, the DuckTales wasn't very comic book themed. The Scooby-Doo one won't be very comic book themed, but if you have ideas for like classic, iconic, and they don't have to be theme songs either. We were going to talk about movie scores, how those can work on certain, I don't know. We have ideas. Anything about music, nerdy music stuff. If you want to see us talk about something, just send us shoot us a Twitter. Anyway, thank you. Thank you, James Darkos. You are my favorite person named James Darkos, and I know at least one, so that's good. Yeah, commissioned. Thank you. That's, I guess, a better word. All right, Star Wars. We could do Star Wars. Actually, I think we are going to do Star Wars because we were going to plan it for around... no, wait. There's something we were going to plan for like the November or December. I can't remember. We were going to try to do some tentpole stuff like that. I can't remember. It doesn't matter. We'll just go back to this. John Williams. Yeah, man, we're getting a lot of the Adam West theme. Oh, do the Adam West Batman. Yeah, totally. All great suggestions. I have to move on to these comments, guys. I'm so sorry if I ignore you. All right, here we go. Sean Gearhart says, I think the only... Sean Gearhart says, I think the one... one more time. Sean Gearhart says, I think the one defining factor that separates Frank from the evil he hunts is that while he exhibits the same tendencies, he has self-loathing for his nature. The evil people reveal in their actions for pleasure and personal gain. Frank hates himself, but he knows his actions are necessary to prevent what happened to his family from happening again. I'm an Aristotelian ethicist. Am I pronouncing those words correctly? Aristotelian. There we go. Come on, use your brain, Scott. I'm an Aristotelian ethicist. I've never said that word out loud. That's why. I'm an Aristotelian. Aristotelian. Am I getting that cadence right? Aristotelian. I know it's Aristotle, but when you add other letters to the end of it, it's anyway. I'm a moron. It might be like Aristotelian. Like, it might be pronounced like that, as far as I know. Like Aristotelian ethicist. I'm going to say it like that, because I think that sounds better. I'm an Aristotelian ethicist by belief, and that states that the intent of the person doing the action qualifies the morality of the circumstance. Frank truly does believe his way is the best way he can bring justice to criminals and protect the innocent. Therefore, he can't be evil based on my moral outward. Therefore, he can't be evil based. I'm going to take it from the full sentence. Frank truly does believe his way is the best way he can bring justice to criminals and protect the innocent. Therefore, he can't be evil based on my moral outlook. Just my 2 cents. Ha! All right. Yeah. So this kind of goes to what we talked about with the first comment about how the video wasn't really necessarily breaking down evil on moral standpoint. You have really great points here, and that's more of a philosophy, an ethics sort of a thing. This was more based on his psychology of what's going on inside of his head to commit these quote-unquote evil acts. And he might not, I mean, obviously, Freed talks about this himself, about how he didn't want to call Syndrome E Syndrome evil because he thought it biased the inquisitive mind for specifically these reasons. So he called it Syndrome E. And I guess that probably wasn't far enough away from the word evil. He probably could have called it something else, like, Freed's disorder or something like that. And people would be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But, sticking that close to evil makes it seem like we're trying to diagnose the morality of actions, which is that's not what we're trying to do. It's a good comment, though. I appreciate it. Ooh. I can tell this is going to be a good comment. Here we go. Sergeant Superman says, the psychology presented here is a joke. Most of those points you say match Frank Castle and thus show him to be evil could be applied to most soldiers. And how about some of those symptoms that you skipped? One says obedience to authority and dependency on group support. I don't remember that. So being a rebel and a loner is somehow indicative of not being evil? Okay, hold on. I'm going to finish reading the comment, and then I'll respond. Another symptom in that list was perseveration. So any athlete that continues to push themselves after the effect is deemed by most to be pointless. Let me try this sentence again. Another symptom on that list was perseveration. So any athlete that continues to push themselves after the effort is deemed by most to be pointless, often even to the detriment of their own health, is showing signs of being evil. I don't think I'd listen to this Eat Shot guy on anything. So first and foremost, I did skip some symptoms. All right, let me put the... So first and foremost, you're right. I did skip a couple symptoms. I wasn't intentionally trying to cherry pick things that I thought fit Frank Castle. There were some of them that I personally didn't quite understand well enough to be comfortable explaining them. So I kind of just said like, we'll leave that for people to look into on their own terms if they're really interested in it. I did leave some of that imagery on screen for obviously you to pick out if you were, you know, caught it with your eye. So I most certainly wasn't trying to hide the fact that I didn't read off all the symptoms, but that's the whole thing about symptoms, right? You don't have to fit every single one of them, but you do have to fit at least a good amount of them, right? So if you have one of these, right, like being in a group, or for example, the perseveration of just continuing to push yourself after the effect, if you just have one of those, you're not... That doesn't qualify you as being, you know, having this specific psychological thing. You have to have a good portion, I would say probably a majority of all of the symptoms, including repetitive violent acts, right? So, or other things that we talked about, getting used to killing people, or you getting used to committing violent acts. It's not just, you can't just say, oh, you know, someone's in a group of people, then that makes them evil. That's not what this is trying to say. And again, I feel like I have to say this a lot because apparently I didn't explain it well enough in the video, and that is my fault. We're not really trying to diagnose the morality of evil here. It's more just the psychology of people who commit violent acts. These are the kind of comments I was expecting, actually. Oh, I forgot about the no prize, too. Holy cow. I think the headline is to blame. Yeah. Potentially. I just don't know what else I would have titled it. Oh well. It's a good video. I stand by it. All right. Let's move on. Carl Christopher Johnson. I'll just say Christopher, even though my mind wants to pronounce it Christopher. Yeah, James, you can get a no prize. In some capacity. I don't know how. I'm terrible at mailing things out. Frank isn't evil, he just has PTSD. I'm not saying PTSD is not a part of it. It certainly is. But I think there's something else going on there too. I wouldn't say he just has PTSD, because people who just have PTSD typically don't go around killing people. Typically. 3 years in the quest. There you go. All right, let's move on. Carl Christopher Johnson says, I think that... No, this is a long comment. I think that before we can psychologically diagnose evil, we need to philosophically define evil. Of course, we can make it easy and think of evil as the same thing as Syndrome E, but I think that's ignoring the bigger question. What is thought of as evil varies greatly depending on who you are talking to. I might just... There's a part of me that just... It's such a long comment, and I want to... There's a part of me that wants to skip it because it's, again, talking about philosophy instead of the psychology angle. But, well, I'll skim it myself before I read it out loud because it's just a lot of philosophical talk, and it is a very long comment. If evil is about psychology, then perhaps it can be diagnosed, though we would still have to define what evil is. Is it the same thing as Syndrome E, or perhaps something related to dark triad traits, narcissism, Machiavellianism, psychopathy? If evil is about actions, then obviously it can be diagnosed. It could perhaps be psychologically predicted how likely someone is to perform evil acts, but you can't psychologically diagnose something that isn't psychological. Okay, I think I can try to respond to this. So it's a very long comment. I encourage everyone to read it, but he ends with the thought of So it's a very long comment. I encourage everyone to read it. We'll keep it on screen for a little bit here. But he ends with the note of you can't psychologically diagnose something that isn't psychological. This idea that evil itself isn't psychological, it's philosophical and could, vary depending on which, what morals, blah, blah, blah. It's going back to this idea that evil isn't psychological, it's philosophical, depending on, what you believe to be the morally right thing or wrong thing to do at any given time in any given circumstance. So while I agree with a lot of that, and I agree with the thought in general about how evil itself is not a psychological thing necessarily, I do think there is merit in trying to diagnose the psychology of the people who commit what acts that we would consider, the average person would consider to be evil. And that's really all this is trying to do. You can diagnose the psychology behind what causes a person to do things like repeat violent acts or to, have this creed that they obsess over in their entire life. That stuff is absolutely, I think, free reign for psychological evaluation. And when a lot of the people who commit what we would consider to be evil acts have a lot of the similar pathology, then I do think there is merit in diving into, well, what exactly drives them on the neurological level of to committing these acts. And that's really all that Freed's trying to get across here. Does that make sense? Again, I blame myself. Where are the prop videos? Dude, we haven't made a prop video in like 5 years. Incredible. How do we have 43 people watching now? I feel like I'm doing less. Will there be a consistent time? There probably won't be a consistent time, but we're going to try to aim for Saturdays. So that gives us time to edit these by Monday. And it gives a video time to sit and garner some comments. There's a part of me that wants to just not do the Superman Cole video and instead do a lot of these follow-ups for Punisher, or at least swap them around so the Punisher stuff comes first and then the Cole, because I feel like the Punisher video is where we're getting a lot of the meat of the comments, and it's what people have a lot of, yeah, whatever. It's what people are going to have the most, that's the video that people are going to have the most problems with, which is what these comments are reflecting, I think. All right. We have another comment from Nerd Outpost Alpha. If you're still here in the chat, congrats. Lanisha apparently really likes your comments. Nerd Outpost Alpha says, excellent analysis as usual. I feel like there's something here regarding the idea that one must become evil to properly fight evil. Classic tragedy in that Frank ends up being the very thing that he hates. Yeah, I think that's absolutely true. I think it's kind of this, like fight fire with fire kind of mentality. He talks about this a lot with Daredevil in the second season of Daredevil when he's got him tied up on the roof and he's like, you can't just, put all the villains, all the evil people away in jail because they're going to get back out, they're going to break out, they're going to commit horrible things, whereas my way, the Punisher way, takes him out for good. And of course, that turns him into, like you were saying, the very thing that he hates. He became a criminal. It's his code that he believes separates him from the criminals. His code to only do unto bad guys. But, I kind of, as we saw with the trial of Punisher, I don't think a jury or a judge is going to consider that code very heavily when we're talking about someone who shot up a hospital. Or, just mass murdered a ton of people. So, yeah, it's a good comment. How long have we been going for? I feel like we've been going for like an hour and a half at least. Yikes. Latvarian1 says, what's more evil? Latvarian1 says, what's more evil? Some sadistic killer or someone who blows that sadistic killer to kingdom come so he doesn't ever kill again? Yeah, so this is following in that same vein of kind of taking the law into your own hands, which I see the merit there. I'm not going to pretend like I don't see the merit in doing that sort of thing, but at the end of the day, you know, I'm thinking neither is good. And if you're, I mean, you know, if you're trying to just get, well, technically, there's always something worse, then I feel like, I don't know if that's the best argument to go with. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just feel like that's kind of like, you know, like, yeah, I killed someone, but at least I didn't kill 2 people. You still killed someone. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I don't know if that's the best argument. Do you think that Marvel will give Peter and MJ back their marriage? I don't know. Maybe. Maybe not. Who knows? Which origin do you prefer for the Punisher? I don't know. There's the what's the one where he's in where there's that enemy sniper, the monkey skull. That one's pretty okay. That's just more of an origin of Frank Castle. That's not necessarily an origin of Punisher. I don't know. We already talked about that sort of thing. All right, how many comments do we have left for this particular video? This is comment number 7. All right, we have like 5 comments left, guys. Are you ready? Every time I like come back here, we're like more and more people are watching. All right, let's move on. Lucas Mikado, I'm gonna say. Lucas Mikado writes, I don't think or perceive Frank as evil by definition. In the same way, I don't see violence as purely evil, but as a consequence of an action. I'm going to correct what they were trying to say. No one could argue... No, wait. Yeah. That with the right mindset. Now, one could argue that with the right mindset, one could trigger violence anywhere, and that would be evil. Then Punisher, Frank's response to the violence that he went through, is a product of evil, just like violence is a consequence of it. Now, Frank's embrace of his Punisher persona is him accepting his violent tendencies. I see him as violent, but not evil, which I think might be his own way of perceiving himself. He sees himself as a broken shell. He sees himself as a broken shell. The normal and kind man with hidden violent tendencies inside has died because of evil, and the violence, the product consequence, is ironically Frank's way of fighting back against the very evil that killed his family and his former mentality. He is imprisoned by evil, but not necessarily corrupted by it. That's an interesting thought. Sorry if this is confusing. English is not my first language. It's a very interesting thought. Yeah, it's an interesting thought. I think a lot of the comments are getting around the same thing of evil as a concept, as like a broad concept, and not necessarily the psychological aspect of it. But again, that's on me. You know what? This is a really good comment. It's really interesting. It's really thought-provoking. And even though English is not your first language, you managed to get across something that was kind of interesting to think about. So I'm going to go ahead and give you this week's NerdSync No Prize. Blam! There it is on screen. Not if you're on live, but we'll edit it in. It'll be a good time. At least temporarily. Unless there's a better comment that comes along. I don't know. DK dabs in Mario Kart 8? Alright. JCC says, Punisher isn't evil. His actions, however, might appear evil to others, but morally he is good, and he only ever kills people. Hell, Ghost Rider's penance stare didn't work on him because he knew what he was doing wasn't wrong. He didn't have... please have punctuation. He didn't have innocent blood on his hands, only the blood of the Ghost Rider's typically... only the blood of Ghost Rider's typical victims, the guilty. I don't want to repeat myself about morality and whatnot. Move on. Onat says, what about environmental dependency? Again, that was one that I couldn't really understand enough to talk about it. And I already addressed that comment earlier. All right, last two comments, I think. Ultimate evil calls for ultimate justice. The Punisher doesn't come for you until you escape conventional justice. Ooh, buddy. Why do you spell justice incorrectly every single time you write it? Sorry, I didn't even say his name. Glenn McKines says, ultimate evil calls for ultimate justice. The Punisher doesn't come for you until you escape conventional justice. If you come for him... sorry, I was checking to see if my iPad was blocking my face, but it's not. It's not even on screen, so. Sorry. If you come for him, he will defend himself. If he happens upon you in the act, he will dole out proposals from I don't think your spelling is very good. I'm not really quite understanding. I'm just going to read this. I'm just going to skim it and see what they're trying to get at. Frank is a deeply troubled man, getting help, blah, blah, blah. I see the Punisher as a social antibody to... infection that will mine criminal justice. Yeah, this is just more people talking about their stance on the Punisher and what he does. Roy says, regarding group contagion, didn't he also inspire Lewis Wilson into attacking the government? The problem with the Punisher is that he decides as judge, jury, and executioner who is worthy of death. And it's never really clearly stated how Castle defines the criteria for what's good or bad. That's a really good point. I actually forgot about that whole thing about Lewis Wilson. I forgot that he was inspired by the Punisher, and he absolutely was. And he was inspired by the Punisher to commit all those horribly violent acts that he ended up doing or threatening to do. So, yeah, very good point. They continue. Thus, any admirer of his will only see that the Punisher meets out justice according to his own values. It's not the word you mean, right? I think you mean doles out justice to his own values, thereby, I don't know, justifying the general citizen to do the same. Well, I'll just summarize then. It's a pretty slippery slope. Roy then continues on to say how it's a pretty slippery slope for the Punisher to inspire a general citizen to do the same thing as he does. And once it's implanted into an individual's mind, the results can be disastrous. That is an incredible, that's a fantastic point, actually. And it's part of the reason why I get very uneasy when I see things like the police cars that have the Punisher logo on them, or had the Punisher. I think they were removed. Or anyone else who claims to be very inspired by the Punisher's actions. I tried to say in the video that, you know, he's not meant to be a role model. You're not supposed to look up to him. You're not supposed to take after what he does. And it's that kind of group contagion aspect, that mob mentality where you get inspired by someone and you want to imitate what they do. That can be very, very dangerous. So that's a really great comment. I will give you this week's NerdSync No Prize right there. I might take it away from the other guy. I'm sorry, live chat. You guys are witnessing this. Just us. That's how he was spelling it. Oh boy. I might be like really far behind in the chat lag wise. I apologize. You know, it doesn't mean the government was right. Who's watching The Watchmen? Just because Frank sent someone against the government. Well, that was that was part of the show that I don't. It made it like a Second Amendment advocates. Like I talked about how it was. It was kind of like a wet dream for those kind of people because they changed Frank's motivations got a hair in my mouth. They changed Frank's motivations from Daredevil to be like taking down mob bosses and criminals to being, taking down government officials, which is very much in that kind of, Second Amendment mindset, which is very interesting. I enjoyed the show. I will say that. But yeah, anyway. Bros don't use spell check. You're right. You didn't do just us to spelling. You are correct. I think that's the final comment. Yeah, after Frank avenged his family, he made a conscious choice to keep on killing, whether he chose to kill criminals, his choices. Corrupt government officials. But like you understand, like they could have made it not that way, and they chose to go in that route of him doing that. Because, Frank's whole thing is he's taking down mob bosses, he's taking down very specifically like street level criminals, and then they're just like, well, now let's turn him against the government. So anyway. Watch his video. Executioner. Forever Executioner. All right, I think that's everything. That's all the comments that Lanisha pulled. Who knows if this video is going to be cobbled together well enough in the editing. We're going to make it real short. Because people didn't like having like 16 to 20 minute comment response videos. So this is very long. And I appreciate all of you guys who have been here the whole time. Still like 43 people watching. That's pretty crazy. So anyway, I'm going to wrap up the Tales from the Comments video, and then we can potentially chat for a little bit just over here on the chat. You can tell how hot I'm getting because my cheeks have started to rosy up. But I didn't want to do a costume change. I already committed to this jacket and hoodie outfit. Anyway. Well, if you like the long comment responses, this is basically it now. Really long live streams. All right, here we go. I think that's all the comments that we got. I wanted to just... I think that's all the comments that we have for this week. Thanks to everyone for writing the comments in. I really appreciate it. I especially appreciate everyone who, stood up, voiced any concerns or criticisms they had with the Punisher video. I know that it was kind of a weird concept to do. I was very anxious about putting it out. It's one of those things where I found a really cool concept, a really cool idea from sources that I've come to trust, and I wanted to talk about it in regards to a comic book character. Punisher came to mind, so we sent that out. I don't think I explained it very well, and that is my fault. That is on me. We will talk about more philosophical things in the future, so if you're interested in more about the morality and the ethics side of good and evil, we'll have more videos about that in the future. This was more about psychologically diagnosing people's tendencies to do certain actions. So hopefully you can rewatch the video, kind of understanding better where I was coming from there. If not, then I stand by the editing at least. Hopefully it's at least an entertaining video, whether you agree with it or not. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and end the video. Thanks so much for watching. If it's your first time here on NerdSync, make sure you hit that big, sexy subscribe button. We make new videos about comic books and superheroes every single week to varying degrees of success. We're trying to get better at it. And make sure to leave lots of comments. I really appreciate it. If you want to see these Tales from the Comments videos live with all of the mistakes that I threw in, much longer, it's like an hour long or even longer, make sure you go check out our second channel, NerdSync Sidekick, for more of that. If you missed the last two videos, you can click right up here to see the video about Superman, if Superman could crush coal into diamond, or you can click right down here to see the psychology of the Punisher video. Hope you guys like it. My name is Scott, reminding you to read between the panels and grow smarter through comics. See ya. All right, so there's that. That's all. That's going to be an end card sort of thing. I hope I got everything. I'm just kind of spitballing. I didn't do Patreon. I think I'll save Patreon for the main videos, not the comment response videos. But hey, speaking of, if you guys watching right now want to go support NerdSync on Patreon, I think it's already in that little iCard in one of the corners. I think there. Go check out the NerdSync Patreon. We're going to update it. We have to make a new video about it. But genuinely, if you just let me kind of pitch Patreon for like 10 seconds, it's genuinely the only reason that we can continue to make the videos that we do. It's been super helpful, especially months like this where January we put out 2 videos and YouTube ads are horrible in January. People don't get paid anything. And so I can, with the money that we earn from YouTube specifically, I can barely pay rent. But thankfully with Patreon, I can also afford food, and also with the super chat from James Darkos. So if you guys like the stuff that we do over on Patreon or over on YouTube here, consider supporting us on Patreon. $1 or more, whatever. Everything means a lot. So I know I went on longer for 10 seconds. I apologize. Yeah, if any of you guys are a patron, let me know in the chat. I see Brandon Allen has already won. That's awesome. Let me know if you guys are enjoying that experience. There's a lot that I want to. There's a lot more that I want to do with it. I haven't advertised this yet, but I started doing a thing where I make commentaries over the newest videos that we do. So the Punisher video, I made a commentary track over that to explore more of what I was meaning when I said certain things, or talk about the editing, why I did certain things the way that I did. And those will get better as we go on. You're too poor to be a patron. Hey man, that's all right. It's Patreon is for those who are what's the phrase? Able and willing and able, I guess. If you're too poor, you know, the number one thing I don't want is for anyone to try and become a patron when it doesn't fit into their budget already. I don't want anyone coming into financial problems because of my own financial problems, so don't want that. Did I read Journey into Mystery, like, ever? I've read a few issues. Was there like a new thing that came out? I don't know anything about it. How does Patreon work? Yeah, Patreon, basically, the way that ours works is you can pledge a certain amount of money, very small, you know, $1, $5. Some people do upwards of 10. We have different tiers on there you can pick from. But the way that works is basically you just pledge that amount, and for every new main video, comment responses don't count, guest videos don't count, but for any new main video, you pledge $1, basically, or however many dollars per for that video. And you can set a limit as well, so like, if you don't want to go above $2 and you want to be in the $1 tier, you can set it so you only get charged twice and you never get charged more than $2, even if we upload 4 videos that month. So it works around you. And it's also just, I don't know, I can't stress enough how helpful it is. I hope I'm not like, I feel like people are absolutely abandoning the chat. They are, because I'm trying to be a salesman, but I don't know. It really, really, really helps us out. So. Hey, Mr. C is here. Mr. C's Comics. How's it going, man? You do $1 a month for 7 creators. Fantastic. So, Scott, $100. Come on. What, man? I appreciate it, dude. It's still there. It's still in the super chat. That's awesome. But yeah. Patreon's awesome. Even if you don't support, I'll say this as my final thing, hopefully, unless people have other questions. But like, even if you don't want to support NerdSync on Patreon, if your favorite creator has a Patreon and you are able to support them, I say absolutely go for it. I support a ton of people, like not just my friends, but also just creators that I really love. Patreon's awesome, and I want to practice what I preach, obviously. So yeah, go check it out. Oh, you have a proposition for another 100? Sorry, I missed it. What was the proposition? No shout out. Unsubscribe. I will say this. There was somebody, you know, the Logan video that I uploaded to this channel. On the NerdSync community tab, on the main NerdSync community tab, I put a poll up to see if people would want to watch that video. And somebody commented like, your greediness just lost you a subscriber. And I was like, what? My greediness for wanting to know if people were going to watch a video? I don't know. Either way, I put it up on this channel. So definitely didn't make any money from it. Because this channel, I don't even think can be monetized with the new system in place. You need like 4,000 watch hours. Hopefully this live stream helps, but I don't think it will. Give this man a no prize. Oh, yeah. You're getting a no prize in some capacity. Well, I'll figure it out. If you have Twitter, hit me up on Twitter. If you have, or just email me, nerdsyncproductions@gmail.com. Sorry. Do I prefer Frank's family death to be planned or accidental? I like the idea that it was accidental more. Because planned makes it seem like, you know, he can go after just the people that did it and then be done with it. Because accidental makes it seem like it could happen to anybody. And that's more of his motivation, right? He wants to take criminals off the street because he doesn't want the same thing that happened to him to happen to anyone else. Accidental makes it more, it makes more sense that way because, you know, if it's planned, then it's like, oh, well, it's not going to happen to anyone else. It was very specifically targeted at Frank. But accidental makes it seem like it could happen to anyone else, and it gives him more motivation. So that's what I think. Why is it on the Sidekick channel? Because I didn't think it was good enough for the main channel, to be honest. I thought it was too, I don't know. I would have spent more time on it. It was in the editing process. I realized how much I wanted to add. So I might do it. If Logan actually wins the Oscar, which I'm not expecting it to, but if it wins or any more buzz is generated around it, I will remake the video with more info, and better arguments and whatnot, and I'll put it on the main channel. I just don't think that video as is was ready for prime time. There were a lot of videos actually like that I ended up putting on the main channel that I didn't think were ready for prime time, and I kind of paid the price for that in people's reactions, thinking like, wow, this channel went downhill. So I didn't want to repeat. I didn't want to repeat of that. So I played it safe. Put it on the Sidekick channel. If you put the clip of you saying, wait, DK dabs in Mario Kart with no context, I'm offering $100 for you. Like in the final video, you mean? Like put that clip in the final edited Tales from the Comments video? I don't know. Probably won't do it. I'll be honest. Wait. I could do it. I could do it and have it make sense. Andrew, or whoever's editing this video in the future, hit me up, because I could do it. Yeah, let's do it. Someone's got to remind me, though, because I will forget. I don't think Andrew would have watched to this far. He probably would have stopped watching by the time I said, you know, reminding you to read between the panels and go smart with their comics. See ya. So hit me up on Twitter on either tomorrow or Monday, just to remind me, because the video will go up on Monday. So, yeah, I think we can do it. Let's do it. If someone, it would be especially helpful if somebody could find the time code of me saying that. Tweet that to me. You have yourself a deal. All right. Let's, what's it, 9:23? Let's talk for 7 more minutes until it's 9:30. 6 more minutes until it's 9:30. And then I'll end the stream, because only 28 people are watching now. And we'll just get on with it. Yeah. We are making James Darkos homeless. Whoa, there it is. Oh, wow. That's awesome, man. I really do appreciate it. These are going to happen, hopefully, every other week. These live streams, every other Saturday. So mark that in your calendars, gang. We can try to get a good official time going. And we'll play around with times as well for the next couple months. We'll play around at different times. It might be earlier, it might be later. To see very specifically when the most people show up and what works best, what works best for you guys in your schedule. How much of the super chat goes to you? Like goes to NerdSync? If I had to guess, there are numbers online. I assume you mean like between NerdSync and YouTube gets a cut. There are numbers online. I don't know what those numbers are, so someone can look them up and fact check me. But if I had to guess, it seems like it would be the typical YouTube split of 55-45, where 55 goes to the creator and 45 goes to YouTube, which is a lot. And that might be off. That's how ad revenue is split. I don't know how much very specifically the super chat is, so nobody quote me on that. Ooh, boy. Yeah, it is. YouTube gets 30%? All right, that's probably better. Or, I mean, it is better. That sounds more accurate. YouTube gets 30%. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, I didn't feel like that was right. That's how AdSense works, but that's how, yeah, 30%, 70%. That seems better. I mean, it is better. But it seems, yeah, I don't know. Patreon, yeah, Patreon is a much better deal in general. Patreon, the way that it works is, I think they get, I can't remember the exact cut, but it's much smaller. I think it's like under 15%, might be 10%. I can't remember. There are credit card fees and whatnot as well that go into it, that remove it, or processing fees in general, but those don't go to Patreon. That just goes to, you know, banks, I guess. I don't know. But overall, Patreon is much better cut. The best cut, as far as I know, is a direct donation to PayPal, but I don't really promote that often because that feels much cheaper to me. But I don't know, whatever. Yeah, but yeah, Patreon's great. What's your favorite YouTube channel? Ooh, it changes frequently. I'll recommend some people that I was watching recently. I've been watching a ton of speedrunning videos. Not videos of people speedrunning, but videos about the histories of speedrunning. So I've been watching a lot of those. Even though I don't play video games very much, but I love history, and I think that's what intrigues me about it is people like Summoning Salt or Easyscape. Those people do some really great videos about speedrunning. If you're interested in like the history, the world record progression of speedrunning times getting slower and slower, and glitches that people found in really cool ways, and yeah, they're edited in a pretty good style. So go check them out. Summoning Salt, Easyscape. Those are the two. Boss Level 8. Oh yeah, Boss Level 8 and RKVC have a new gaming channel called Doppelgamers. Go check them out. Shoutouts. Doppelgamers. They've been uploading, some would say, too many videos, but they're playing the algorithm, so I can't keep up. Yeah, Brandon Allen's got it. Stu Dippin, this is actually Ricky's last year on YouTube, so if you want to see his final videos, go check those out. You messed it up and donated $2.75? Wait, didn't you donate $5 and then a $20? I can't remember anymore. Oh well. Yeah, Summoning Salt also just randomly appeared in my suggested videos. Awesome stuff. I'm trying to think of who else I've been watching a ton of. I've been re-watching a lot of old, like, classic YouTube stuff. I've been, like, binge watching Kickstarter crap from iDubbbz. I've been binge watching that, catching up on that. And those are, like, relatively old videos of his, so they're yeah, it's his personality's changed a lot. It's but they're still fun to watch. They're still enjoyable. But yeah. Will we see more than 2 videos this month? You will. That was a fluke in January. I didn't mean for there to be 1 or 2 videos. There were supposed to be 4. There were actually supposed to be 6 because we were supposed to be doing more of these comment response videos every other week. Hopefully moving forward, you will see 1 video a week. We're going to try to get really, really consistent about that. That's been my biggest problem, is working on consistency and trying to make the videos that I want to make in the time frame that we have. But we have a lot of scripts written. We have a lot of videos recorded and almost done edited, so that shouldn't be a problem moving forward. We shall see. We also had some collab stuff going on with the Super Carlin brothers I had to whip out real fast. to help with them. But yes, one NerdSync video a week on the main channel. Hopefully, I'm trying to get back into the schedule of like every Wednesday. That's what we used to do back in the day. And then every other Monday, Tales from the Comments, just like this. So, Mr. Sunday Movies. Yeah, he's been cranking out a ton of awesome stuff lately. He's awesome. I've recommended him a lot. I'm trying to think of newer people that I haven't seen or that I haven't recommended quite yet. Or like newer to me, or like, you know what I mean? Let me just look in my, we went 1 minute over time. I apologize for the time limit that I set, the arbitrary time limit that I set. Let me look in here in my subscription box. See if I can find anything that I've been watching that is news worthy. Probably not really. In fact, if you guys have better channels that I should be watching, let me know. Yeah, I haven't been watching a ton of stuff, unfortunately. My YouTube subscription box is very bland and boring. I'm gonna leave now. I have seen Because Science before. Super Carlin Bros, of course. Granny Potty Mouth, of course. But yeah, I'm gonna leave now and probably get back to work. I keep looking down. This is where the chat is. Sorry if you're new and you didn't hear me explain that at the very start of the chat. Thank you guys for showing up to this. This was super awesome. Everyone give yourself a round of applause using the most inappropriate emoji you can think of for applause. And also, just to give credit to James Darkos over here, everyone put... Well, I'm trying to think of one very specific emoji. I just watched the Emoji Movie a couple nights ago for the first time with some friends of mine who were like, you have to see this movie. It's not even fun. So I finally watched it. It's fine. It was very inoffensive. That's what I can say about the movie. Emojis are comics. You're right. Yeah, for James Darkos, let me do what's the best emoji I can possibly think of. Everyone do the what's like a super obscure one? Do they have like a floppy disk emoji? Do one of them's. Figure it out. They probably don't. Whatever the most obscure thing you can possibly find, do that. James Darkos. They're awesome. Or an envelope. An envelope would be fun because of the NerdSync No Prize. That's another good one. Hey, they do have a floppy disk one. Awesome. Thanks, gang. Ha. You guys are great. All right. So that's gonna do it. Let me know if you guys like this. Hit me up on Twitter at NerdSync or at Scott Nicewander. If you're not following me there already, both of those, at Scott Nicewander is my personal one. At NerdSync is just the NerdSync one. I do respond to both of them, so just kind of choose your whatever. Let me know if you liked this. Let me know if you have any thoughts or ideas or questions for future live streams. If we think we should make even these a little bit shorter or longer or what. If you have any other ideas that we could do where this is all just testing it out. In fact, I don't even know if this is going to be edited and uploaded by Monday. Who knows at this point? Wow. The chat is blowing up. I love it. Thank you to everyone who watched. Once again, at NerdSync or at Scott Nicewander, either one, on all of the platforms, not just Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, whatever, you got it. Facebook is NerdSync Productions, so I'm going to check that out. Anyway, I'm going to leave, and I will see you guys in 2 weeks for another one of these, or sooner for another video. Who knows? Bye-bye.